Okay, so I have to do a performance speech for my public speaking class, Comm101, and here I go. Okay, how many of you have been the victim of racism? Okay, wow. Hello, my name is Ryan, and my public speaking class, we had to do a performance speech about our social justice issue. My social justice issue is racism. We all know that racism still exists and how it can affect people. Since the beginning of this semester, I had to choose a social justice issue to do and do research on it for 2 speeches, a informative and a persuasive speech. And so for my performance speech, I'll be telling you a story about how devastating it can be to a younger person. This younger person first came in contact, was learned and became a victim, and how since they had to deal with it. A boy who has started elementary school, he is young, innocent, and unaware of racism. One day, another boy walks up to this boy during recess and pushes him down and starts to beat him up and call him names until a teacher stops the other boy. This boy is left bloodied and confused about why he got beaten up and what those awful names mean. During lunch again, the same boy, along with some other boys, walk up to the same boy from earlier, and throw his lunch to the ground, start stepping on it, and one of the boys spits on it. And when they all leave, they all call him a very offensive name. When the day was over, he came home to his parents, bloodied, with a black eye, broken nose, and various other bruises. His parents asked him what happened. He told them what happened, and then they had, to their surprise, they had to, for the first time, had to explain to their son what was racism. From the day on, he had to deal with racism in various other ways. Kids had to, other kids had to beat up on him also. So I called him most names. Even during class time, he had found notes on his desk. A lot of them would say, like stupid blank, to all your imagination. Where people are nothing but trash, you should have a collar around your neck with a rope or a leash attached to it. I can't believe they let your people attend school, and so on. Most of these notes came with a drawing, like showing him being lynched, shooting him in the head, drawing him as an animal, and so on. Also during lunch, no one would sit with him, and no one would let him sit with them. And from that on, the kid had to always eat his lunch alone, and deep depression. When he came from middle school, his problem with racism got even worse. Kids would start spraying racism rumors about the boy, like these people are responsible for every war in history. If you touch, smell, listen to, or even breathe the same air as him, you turn into his kind. People are known to be germ infested, and you'll die if you're around him, and a lot more worse ones too. In class, it was the same with notes of hatred towards him, except kids would throw things at him, frame him for stealing something of theirs, and even steal his things and say, "Why would your people even need something like this?" No one would want to be his friend, but instead wanted to be his tormentor. In high school, things got a little bit better, but also got horribly worse. Boy was able to make a few friends, but this still didn't help the fact that he was still the victim of racism. Other peers of his would try to run him over with their cars because they thought it was funny and that no one would care if they run over since he belonged to an ethnic group. He decided to join the football team thinking this would help his problem, but it didn't. His own teammates would steal his stuff, throw junk and inappropriate items into his locker, even leaving offensive notes and pictures in his locker too. His teammates would also make fun of him by pretending to speak his racist language, touch him as if he was a female of his people, and go as far as making racist comments about his race. For him, being part of the team was as bad as his regular school life. Throughout the rest of his high school life, he had to face racism every single day, ranging from taunting, being made fun of for belonging to an ethnic group, and other people imitating his ethnic group in offensive ways. It all ended when he got into college, but the mental and psychological damage to him caused him to have depression, low insecurity, have social problems, and many other issues because he had to deal with racism since a young age. I hope you can take something from the story home with you today. I also hope that you can understand how racism at a young age can be devastating to someone. Thank you all for listening. Alright everyone, I'm have to do a performance speech for my Comm101 class. Oh gosh. And I have to do a social justice issue I already had to do. How many of you have been the victim of racism? Okay, my name is Ryan, and for a public speaking class we have to do a performance speech about our social justice issue. My social justice issue is racism. We all know that racism still exists and how it can affect people. Since the beginning of the semester, I had to choose a social justice issue and do research on it for two speeches, a informative and a persuasive speech. And I will be telling you a story about how devastating it can be to a younger person. The story is about a young person who first learned, became a victim, and how since then they are dealing with more of it as they grow up. A boy who has started elementary school, he is young, innocent, and is unaware of racism. One day, another boy walks up to this boy during recess and pushes him down and starts to beat him up and call him names until a teacher stops the other boy. The boy is left bloody and confused about why he got beaten up and what those awful names mean. During lunch, again, the same boy, along with some other boys, walk up to the boy from earlier and throw his lunch to the ground, step on it, and one of the boys steps on the lunch. When the day is over, the boy goes home, and when he gets home, his parents are worried at what they see. They see their son bloodied with a black eye, a broken nose, and various other bruises. They ask him what happened. He explains to them what happened to him. And in the end, his parents had to tell and explain to the young boy that he was the victim of racism. From the next day on until middle school, the same thing happened to him. The boy was soon getting beaten up by different kids during recess, and most of the time by multiple kids at the same time. In class, he had hurtful notes left on his desk with racist writing like "stupid," you can blanks. Your people are nothing but trash. You should have a collar around your neck and a rope or a leash attached to it. Can't believe they let your people attend school, and so on. Almost most of these notes came with a drawing like lynching him, shooting him in the head, drawing him as an animal, and so on. During lunch, no one would sit with him or let him sit with them every single day, which resulted in him just sitting alone. When he came from middle school, the boy's racism problem got worse. Kids would spread racist rumors about the boy like, His people are responsible for every war in history. If you touch, smell, listen to, or even breathe the same air as him, you'll turn into his kind. His people are known to be germ-infested, and you'll die if you are around him, and a lot more worse ones too. In class, it was the same with the notes of hatred towards him, except kids would throw things at him, blame him for stealing something of theirs, and even stealing his things and say, "Why would your people ever need something like this?" No one wanted to be his friend, but instead wanted to be his tormentor. In high school, things got a little bit better, but also got horribly worse. The boy was able to make a few friends, but this still didn't help the fact that he was still the victim of racism. Other peers of his would try to run him over with their cars because they thought it was funny and that no one would care if they run him over since he belonged to an ethnic group. He decided to join the football team thinking this would help his problem, but it didn't. His own teammates would steal his stuff, throw junk and inappropriate items into his locker, and even leave offensive notes and pictures in his locker too. His teammates would also make fun of him by pretending to speak his racist language, touch him as if he was a female of his people, and go as far as making racist comments about his race. For him, being part of the team was as bad as his regular school life. Throughout the rest of his high school life, he had to face racism every single day, ranging from taunting, being made fun of, for belonging to an ethnic group, and other people imitating his ethnic group in offensive ways. It all ended when he got into college, but the mental and psychological damage to him caused him to have depression, low insecurity, have social problems, and many other issues because he had to deal with racism since a young age. I hope you can take something from this story home with you today. I also hope that you can understand how racism at a young age can be devastating to someone. Thank you all for listening.